Okay, we are back with another Dragon Ball Daima review. This week's episode was episode 20, Maximum. And this episode immediately starts out no intro, no recap. You're just straight thrown into it. And it is Super Saiyan 4 Goku versus, Third Eye, Goma, full power, and they go at it, and it is just pure motion and pure action for just 8 straight minutes. And there's like so little dialogue. It's pretty much just them screaming for like 8 minutes and like grunting. But it's really awesome to see, and it's just such a treat for the eyes. The animation is just so brilliant. The fighting is just so entertaining to watch. Like Super Saiyan 4 Goku, like finally in canon during the fight, Goma is like pretty much invincible to whatever Goku throws at him, and it is like it's kind of hard to tell what his ability is. Like the third eye, I guess, just gives him like infinite stamina or regeneration or whatever makes him invincible. But it was just kind of annoying to like see like Goku, in like after all the transformations that the characters have taken, and then now they're adults, he's still just like you know just knocking them back down like for the hundredth time, and it gets a little bit old. But uh Goku does stop playing around, and he immediately puts up his hands, and he does the Kamehameha, and the Kamehameha he blasts is just, it looks like probably the best Kamehameha like ever. It looks like the best animated one like in the entire series, honestly, in the entire franchise. And it blasts through Goma, and it just goes through like every single like demon realm or demon world, and it like causes like a waterfall from the water of the second demon world to like fall into the third. And it's just like it's like, oh dang, Goku just like destroyed their entire ecosystem. But that gets touched on later on. But it was like really cool to see that. And then you see, I really like this touch of after he's fired off the Kamehameha, you can see the key still like beaming from his hands or just radiating from his fingertips, and it's just such an incredible visual. And that entire like sequence of that Kamehameha and that whole fight leading to that, it was really incredible. And then this is when Goma basically regenerates. So basically, it was all for nothing, which is very annoying. But Piccolo does actually try to get him, and of course they had to do Piccolo so dirty. Piccolo could not get the third hit, and Goma knocks him away. And then everyone tries going at Goma, even Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and they all get knocked away, which is just like, bro, how strong is he supposed to be? Like what? Like one minute he's getting dominated, the next he's like knocking everyone away, and no one can mess with him. But Ku does, just fall backwards into basically getting the three hits on his head, and that basically allows the third eye to fall out of Goma's head, and it falls to Glorio's feet, and Glorio immediately stomps that thing instead of, I don't know, taking the power for himself, I guess. Uh, and that's basically where the fight ends. Uh, and I was like, oh dang, okay, all right. So it is kind of like it wasn't no one. I don't think anyone was expecting Ku to be the one to defeat Goma when like all the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, the presence of this fusion bug, all this and that. Like I think it really caught me off guard. But yeah, Ku does get him, and Marba, the evil like witch, or I don't know if she's that evil, but like the witch or whatever, she basically uses the Mafuba, the evil containment wave on the on Goma and Degasu. And then Neva, the Namekian, does say that since Ku defeated, uh, you know, like he technically defeated Goma, he is now king, and he immediately gets his cape and he starts, is saying that you're going to be minister of here, and you're going to be minister of there, and you're going to be vice president. He starts allocating everyone to their different I guess places of ruling, and it's like just going by like really fast. And then it cuts to basically they're on their way out, and Pansy gives Bulma like a bunch of Magilite for her I guess their trip on the way out of the demon realm, and it transitions into what I think was probably definitely one of my favorite scenes from all of Daima, honestly. It's just Goku and Vegeta basically just talking, and Goku says like, "Oh yeah, I didn't know if I could do it." So it it was kind of confusing because Vegeta says like he was confused about the transformation. He was like, "Oh, you were hiding it," which is like what he was saying when Goku unveiled had Super Saiyan 3 in the Buu arc. Um, and Goku was like, "Oh yeah, after Buu, I trained really hard. I wasn't sure if I could do it," which is just like it's kind of funny to think that Goku just trained and then got Super Saiyan 4. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him, but I mean, Super Saiyan 4 and GT, it wasn't. I'm pretty sure it was not something you could just train for. Uh, but he got it, and I mean, I don't really care. It was cool to see, so I'm not really gonna really, uh, grasp at straws here. But Vegeta does say his classic line, "It's a bargain bin or bargain sale of Super Saiyans." I love that. I love that. And what is it? Goku does say that he wasn't sure if he could do Super Saiyan 4, which it is interesting because it means that Goku has this form, so he just has it and he never uses it in Super. Obviously, it was because like they didn't think they were gonna use it back then. But like I'm sure people are probably gonna be like really mad about like what this does and like how this isn't canon or it doesn't make sense. But I think like with Dragon Ball, honestly, like they just don't care about any of that. They'll retcon stuff, they'll rewrite things. It really doesn't matter. They'll ignore things when they need to or when they want to. It really doesn't matter. Uh, so I don't really I try not to pay too much attention to it and just like I just let them get away with it really. Uh, but yeah, and then Goku's like flying away and Vegeta's like, it's not Super Saiyan 3, it's Ultra Vegeta 1. So that's his new form, Ultra Vegeta 1. That's pretty sick, honestly. But I really enjoyed that scene. I thought it was definitely one of the more fun scenes in Daima. It's just those two just, talking uh, and just about their Super Saiyan forms. And it's just like, it's really funny, very entertaining, in my opinion. And then it transitions to a pretty sweet scene with all the Namekians, with Neva, Dende, and Piccolo, just, kind of reflecting and thinking about if the Namekians who were displaced after the Frieza arc would be willing to come to the Demon Realm to have a home. And I thought that was like a really nice scene, Neva just and all these Namekians just bonding. I just thought that was a really nice scene in my opinion. I'm glad that they took advantage that, Dende, Piccolo, and Neva are all in one area together so that you can have like a nice scene of them just talking. So they had like really good scenes back to back, in my opinion, for this episode. And then they also reveal that the tunnel that Goku made, with his like just the best Kamehameha ever, bro, ever. It actually does help out like the actual ecosystem of the three demon realms. Like it allows the air from the third demon realm to kind of get like I guess spread out a little bit more, so that it allows for people to fly in between realms now or just fly freely. So I'm like happy they kind of addressed that because I was thinking like Goku did like irreparable damage to this face. But it was so cool. I mean, just seeing that coming, I mean, just blasting through the realms, and like you see like from the point of view of all the Tamagamis in the different areas, like how it's what it looks like, and it was so sick, bro. Uh, but yeah, and then they leave, and then that's where the credits roll. And it actually does show, and the intro starts playing, but it shows like just regular credits, and it shows like these really, I think, really good touches of images flashing up on screen of just other characters basically. Uh, like during this episode or a little bit after the events of this episode, and it shows Tamagami 3 getting some treats from the people around him, I guess. And then it shows like Tamagami number 2 swimming around with like those big gigantic I don't know, octopuses, squids, or whatever, those titans in the water. And then uh, Tamagami 1 is being saluted. Master Roshi is now old, and he's like very surprised about it. And it's just funny seeing like the Earthlings, basically, come back to their adult selves. And, some of them are happy, some of them are surprised. Like Chi Chi, like she's like on a stepping stool doing dishes. And Trunks and Goten are like, on like these hoverboards doing Back to the Future. Like and then it shows, I thought it was a pretty nice touch, Degasu and Goma, because they do get like Mafubad into like this prison or whatever. And I'm not gonna lie, the prison low key, it looks pretty good. I mean, they're gonna be banished there for like 99 or 100 years, I guess, depending on if they go with what Piccolo said. But you know, it looks like really sick in there. It's like a nice palace. It's got a nice backdrop and stuff. Uh, Maybe it's like a prison for them because like they already lived in a palace and they had free reign to go wherever. But they have like games in there and stuff. And you see like Degasu and Goma like playing a video game or something. I'm sure they're playing Sparking Zero. I know they're playing Sparking Zero. And I think that's probably gonna be like an image used, probably for like memes or whatever in like the Dragon Ball community whenever like they talk about, I don't know, refer to gaming or whatever. But I thought that was like a pretty nice touch that they added those like images in the end, just to kind of look at while you're watching the outro. And then uh, after the end credits, there is actually an end credit scene. You should always watch anime outros to the end because you always want to see if they have an end credit scene that you don't know about. Always, and it does show Goku totally says Glory. He says Gliro, so he totally gets Glorio's name again or name wrong again, seemingly on purpose. But whatever, I guess. But they do end up stopping because Goku wants to get like some medic bugs because they're running low on sensu beans again, and they do go to the shop, and Bulma is immediately enticed by the the bugs that make you look 10 years younger and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, I'll buy all of them," which is like her motivation in like both the Dragon Ball Super movies. But Pansy's like kind of walking around, and she does actually stumble upon a jar that has two of the third eyes in there, two more of them. Even though Glorio did smash one of them, he stomped one of them. There are two more in that jar, and that shopkeeper basically says, "Oh yeah, I had these like for a long time, and they give the user a lot of power, but no one ever buys them. The last time I sold one was like ages ago, and that's basically where it ends. Like they're like, "What?" They're like all surprised, and then the episode ends. Uh, and I think, like overall, it was this episode felt so rushed. I mean, it was the same thing with Super. I mean, like Super felt like its final episode felt so rushed, and I remember going into this episode, I was like, man, I'm pretty sure this is gonna be the last episode, but I don't know how they're gonna like wrap up everything, given that it's gonna be the final battle, and you gotta like eh, wrap up all these character arcs and stuff, and it just they managed to do it, but they had to like really go at like 100 miles per hour, or but one thing that I did notice was they didn't actually show Gohan. Um, I mean, I know that he didn't have any relevance to the plot in this series, but they didn't show Gohan in like, in the outro or in the outro like images of maybe him turning into an adult or anymore. But I guess this series just didn't care about Gohan. Uh, but yeah. Uh, but yeah, it felt like pretty rushed, and I would have really loved if the series just did things a little bit more smartly, because for like it's only 20 episodes, and like half of the series is just them kind of like really just goofing off, like just doing nothing. Like their ship just crashes down, like they're having bar fights for like 10 episodes straight. They're like playing with bugs. It's like, oh my goodness. And then another thing was that I thought was interesting was they showed like the fusion bug, like when they initially went to the shop, but they never actually acted upon that, and that had no actual impact on the story. They never used the fusion, they never fused or anything like that, which I thought was pretty surprising that they did that, and it kind of served as like a red herring almost. But I mean, you know, I know people are probably gonna have like issues with the series about like canon or whatever. I honestly, I, I just like I just don't care. I just don't care. I'm just here to enjoy it. And I did enjoy it, but I didn't enjoy that like they only had 20 episodes, and this is like the final series that Akira Toriyama has worked on, in terms of like the Dragon Ball brand, I believe. And for most of it, it's just like nothing until like they get to like the end, or they get to like the halfway point. And they're like, oh shoot, oh shoot, we really gotta put it into high gear. We need to start actually doing stuff. And then when it really kicks into gear, it gets really good and really enjoyable. Um, I think I probably would have preferred like something some more emotional weight or something. Given that this is Akira Toriyama's final series, I think like probably the most emotional scenes, like honestly, well, probably just like the intro and the outro. Honestly, um, I think those were probably just the uh like those are probably the things that tugged at your heartstrings the most. Uh, so Dragon Ball Daima I think could have done more, and I think it does, definitely fall short at some places. But I think it also really, really does shine at some other places. I mean, it, you know, it's surface level, but like the animation is just like it's just so much better than when Super was coming out because Super was really great for because it was just one episode a week for like like 3 years straight. But the thing is that like it led to like the animation being like sometimes inconsistent. The animation in Daima is just so consistent, so polished. As soon as this episode begins and Goku's just right about to move and Goma's right about to make his first motion, it just reminded me so much of like the best parts of Super. Um, and a lot of that was in Daima, thankfully. So I think they did a lot of stuff with Daima good, but they definitely did a lot wrong as well. But overall, I think this episode was definitely just super enjoyable. Just such a great episode, I thought. Like all this, they had like the really awesome action scenes and just amazing visuals. The absolute best Kamehameha in the entire series, definitely. Goku and Vegeta having that like really funny scene, as well as the Nameks having that really heartwarming scene and touching scene as well. And then the post-credit scene. I think they had to pack a lot of in this episode, but I think the execution was pretty good. And Majin Ku is now the supreme king of the demon realm. First it was Abura, or I mean he wasn't first, but I think the most previous one we know is Abura, then Dabura, and then uh, Doma, and now uh, Majin Ku. And Arinsu did say that I'm still evil, but like you know I'll chill out though. So you know there's like a lot of that of like good or bad guys turning you know into like anti-heroes and then kind of good guys or whatever. So we'll see. And I do hope, because Daima, the events of Daima are never mentioned in Super or anything. Obviously, or Superhero or Super Broly, because obviously they didn't know that this was gonna be a thing back then. But when Super does return, and I really do hope it does, uh, I wouldn't be surprised if they just suddenly mention it as being canon or whatever, or like Goku unveils his Super Saiyan 4 form, or Vegeta goes Super Saiyan 3, or they go to the Demon Realm, or anything like that. You know, whether it's Dragon Ball Super or another Super movie, I really do hope that we do get more Dragon Ball. Uh, in the near future, I think it'd be really good for the world. Uh, but yeah, until then, this episode was pretty sick, and I hope that they come out with something new soon.